Welcome. Welcome to the first lecture of the series of lectures on communication, group discussion, interview preparation and personality development. I am Ratnabha Saha and I will be your host and host in these videos. These videos are of self-development. Now, before we jump into the topic, let's first understand A. the purpose of these videos and B. who all will benefit from these videos. Anyone who is targeting an emotional healthy life, these videos are for you. Because for you, being good at communication is not an option but a necessary life skill. Now, group discussion and group tasks. These are useful in two ways. In short term, for students and aspirants applying for jobs or seats in higher education institutes. In the long term, for those who work in teams in their professional life. Then interview preparation. They would be useful in two contexts. In short term, again for students and aspirants applying for jobs or seats in higher education institutes. In the long term, in your professional life, for job changes, role changes, appraisals, in all this stuff. So anyone who wants to perform well in group tasks and interviews, these videos are for them. Now, success is directly proportional to personality. Someone said this, but this statement cannot be a truer statement than this. Personality, your ability to influence thoughts and people through your thinking, action, vision is what is all about. Yes, communication and GD-PI preparation will add to it, but there is much more to it. As a matter of fact, personality is that general component of which communication, interview effectiveness, group management, etc. are specific applications. So anyone who wants to have an effective personality, these videos are for them. Now, what is communication? When I ask this question, my students come up with some standard answers. The most common answer that I normally get is, "Sir, communication means speaking about an issue." Now I ask you, as I ask them, is it possible to have a communication without speaking? Think. Yes, of course it is. An examination hall? The invigilator? She does not speak, but her presence communicates silence. So even if you do not speak, communication is still happening. One example. My class teacher of 8th, sometimes she would look at me as if her eyeballs would pop out like marbles. Even without saying anything, she made it clear that I am going to have a very, very bad time. Now, so that's communication without speaking. Now that brings us to our original question. What is communication? I'll not go into an elaborate definition, but putting it in simplest terms. Right communication happens when the sender of the message is able to deliver the message to the receiver, and the receiver understands the message in the same vein in which the sender intended him or them to understand. Which means, sender sends a message, he meant something, the receiver received the message, but he understood it something else, then that is not right communication, it is miscommunication. Well, it will be much easier if you understand it through by seeing what happens when you miscommunicate. Let's look at an example. You see, one day one friend of mine came. I looked at him. He seemed to have had a hair cutting. He was not looking good, and I told him so. He said that he had his hair done in an Italian salon. I did not know anything about Italian salon, so I thought it must be some fancy salon. But still I asked him, and he said, "अरे यार, Italian salon वो होता है जहां हम गंगा किनारे ईंट के ऊपर बैठ के अपना बाल कटवाते हैं." Now, you see, he meant something else, and I understood something else. Then he told me an interesting story. This salon guy of his, after having some money, managed to have a shop in some upmarket place in the city. He put up a large board which read, "You can cut yourself here." Naturally, customers did not turn up. You see, you would not want to cut yourself in your salon. He lost a lot of money and came back to his business of Italian salon. You see, looking at it, for me, for you, this story is humorous. But for the barber, it was a huge loss. And that's the way it is. Your miscommunication is humor for someone else. But for you, it is loss. It can be financial, personal, image loss, or some other type of loss, but miscommunication would lead to some kind of loss. And that is why right communication is so important. Now, let's look at the types of communication. Let us see what are the different types of communication we normally encounter. There are three: spoken or verbal communication, written communication, and non-verbal communication. Remember, in your life, when we communicate, most of the times we use more than one form of communication. But while we learn, we will have to make them one by one and learn them. So today we take the first of them, verbal communication. You see, in India, every professional normally interacts in at least two languages: English for formal settings and Hindi or other vernacular language for informal settings. We here will limit ourselves to English verbal communication scenarios. But also remember that the rules and techniques that I am going to discuss would be equally helpful for all languages. Now, problems in verbal communication. Let's first list the problems that we normally face during spoken communication. I will list the problems from the list of the problems that my students have shared with me over the last 10 years. Now, one would say, Ratnabha, I lack confidence. I have stage fear, irrespective of the language. Constantly a thought haunts me, what if I am wrong? So his problem is our problem number one: stage fear or lack of confidence. Another one would say, sir, I am from vernacular medium, Hindi or other language. Till class 12th I have studied there. So whenever I have to speak in English, I seem not to have words coming to me. Also, because of my habit of using the language English is so low, so whenever the whole communication setting turns to English, I get panicky. So this person has two problems. One, English speaking problem. The other is lack of English atmosphere. In one of my GD-PI programs last month, there were two girls. One said, sir, when others speak, I do not find myself very interested. And another said, sir, when I speak, people seem to be deliberately not listen to me with interest. So you see, opposite problems, though the solution is linked. So the first girl has a problem which is our problem number 4, listening skills. And the second girl has a problem which is our problem number 5, making others interested. Then there was this guy from Bihar who said, sir, I come from Champaran, Bihar, and I have this accent problem when I speak in English. Because no one instructed me on the right pronunciation, so I have developed this heavy accent in English. So his problem becomes our problem number 6, accent or mother tongue influence. Now, let's very fast summarize the problems that are faced during verbal communication. 1, stage fear. 2, English speaking problem. 3, lack of English atmosphere. 4, listening skills. 5, making others interested. And 6, dialect or mother tongue influence. Now, the solution to all these problems can be summarized as Pebble and kiss. Oh, hold on friends, don't get ideas. I can assure you it is not anything that you are thinking. So let's start with Pebble. Pebble is pronounced as pebble as in small stones, but will be spelled as P-E-B-L. P stands for practice English speaking. Problems it would solve: English speaking problem, dialect or mother tongue influence, and stage fear. Ways of doing it, how to practice it. Read one article of newspaper daily, loudly, so that you can hear what you are speaking. Make a group of 3-4 close friends and discuss one topic every day, 2 to 3 days in English. Do a prior research on the topic. Take every opportunity of performance in front of a group, whether it's a class presentation or anchoring opportunity for some event. Use voice modulation consciously while you are speaking. Change your volume, speed, pitch, and you will get effectiveness in your speech. Now E. E stands for eye contact with those with whom you are communicating. Problems it would solve: making others interested, listening skills. Now how to do it? Practice it in your day-to-day communication with friends, parents, teachers, While you are speaking or you are listening to someone, look at him or her intently. Remember, you are to look and not to stare. Stand in front of the mirror and look into your eyes and start speaking about anything that you are comfortable in. It can be anything, summary of an article that you have read in newspaper, or a review of a recent film, or something else. Now B. B stands for build an atmosphere of English around you. Problem it would solve? Lack of English atmosphere. English speaking problem. How to do it? Watch English movies and series. For the first few days, you can watch them with subtitles. But later on, switch off the subtitle. 1 to 2 movies and 1 series weekly will be sufficient. Sit and listen to debates or discussion on any English news channel daily for 1 hour at least. Make a group of 3-4 close friends and discuss one topic every 2-3 days in English. Do a prior research on the topic though. Read daily at least the editorial page of any major national newspaper. English daily. The last one is L. Listen and observe others. What problem it would solve? Listening skills. Making others interested. How do we do it? Eye contact helps in listening. Also, you need to be genuinely interested in listening. Always show physical presence through your eye contact, an occasional nodding of head with the speaker and at speaker's comment respectively. Sometimes long listening sessions can be boring. So you can physically move yourselves in your position. This indicates that you're trying to be more comfortable so that you can listen in a better manner. This should not be done too many times, so the effect will just be, the opposite. Right? Now friends, you would have noticed by now, most of these jobs are interconnected or similar. For example, when you're doing the eye contact exercise of speaking in front of the mirror, you're also practicing. Sort of practicing. If you can do all the suggested exercise, it is well and good. But if you have time issues, then you should identify your main problems and decide on which to do amongst this list to get the best result from Pebble. One of the questions I get after the Pebble exercise is, would it solve my dialect problem? See, first of all, dialect influence is not a problem. If you deliver your words in a different way, why should it be a problem? Rather, think that it's your style. Be proud of the fact that your speech has influences from where you belong. The only thing to remember is that the accent should not be so heavy that people do not understand what you are saying. Your speech should be clear. After that, it can have any influence. And for that, what I suggested is enough. Let me give you an example of what can happen when you start being proud of your accent. Remember the student of mine who was from Champaran and thought that his accent was a problem? I told him, friend, you have the accent of the place from where Gandhiji started the freedom movement of India. Shouldn't it be an honor rather than a shame that you feel? He seemed to have understood my point, and from that day onwards, he never held himself while speaking. And it paid him too. Today he is working at one of the largest IT firm of the country, whereas earlier he was rejected by even the local companies. Now the second question that I get is voice modulation. How will I know when to lower my voice, when to increase or decrease my speed? Well, it is purely relative. For example, you want to stress on a particular line. Now you are speaking at a particular speed, half the speed for the sentence which you want to stress. Sudden change in the speed at which the words are being spoken will attract the listener, and he or she will listen very carefully. Listen to news regularly. It will also give you more idea about how to do it. It will also do you good to listen to speeches of political leaders and good orators. This will give you an idea how these speakers make their speech effective using the technique of voice modulation. Now let's come to the second part of the solution. KISS. Now what does KISS mean? KISS is the driving force in all communication. Now before you move on to your wildest imaginations, let me explain. KISS is the acronym for Keep It Simple and Straightforward. K for keep, I for your communication material, S for simple, and S for straightforward. Essentially, it means do not try to display your superior language skills, rather make it more understandable. Verbosity, use of difficult words is a quality that is normally not evaluated in most interview or communication process. Now, the moment I tell this, I get a question, normally from students who have a good vocabulary. They ask me, sir, even if our English is much better than others, we cannot proudly showcase it. Then what is the point in having a strength that we cannot show? Now, where you are presenting something technical or specific to a panel of specialists using technical jargons is quite alright. But in that case also, using heavy English words to show off your skills in English is not right. And in the case where your audience is general, not a specialist in your area, then even technical words need to be communicated in such a manner that it is more understandable. Right? So, see, if it's a competition of English language, then obviously you need to show it, isn't it? But you have applied for a script writing or an editor's job in newspaper, then language and words become a part of your essential skill set. At that time you need to use them, not to show off, but to increase utility of your speech, you need it. But when we are talking of higher education or job related interview, group discussion processes, there your effectiveness lies in making the interviewer know your strengths without having any confusion, and your effectiveness in group discussion lies in how your group members have been influenced by your points. Now, how would both of these happen? How would both of these be possible if the audience has not understood you? So get it that the purpose for which you are in the communication scenario is your ability to deliver the message successfully. And good vocabulary is not the most important criteria there. Right? So, this is the Pebble and the KISS way to improve your verbal communication. Pebble would make you ready for effective communication, and KISS would make you ready for efficient delivery. But then, just knowing this won't do the job. Why? Simple. You will have to do this again and again so that the desired effect becomes a part of your personality. And for that, you will need to follow the 3-week rule without interruption. Whichever task you have chosen for yourself, you will have to practice them for at least 21 days in continuation without any break. Remember, the first 7 to 10 days are the most difficult. Most students know these things, but they do not continue doing it for more than 10 days and thereby end up with lesser confidence than what they had started with. Continue it for 21 days and then see, it will become a habit and you will see the changes coming in from the 4th week itself. So friends, I hope you like this video. The next time we meet, I will tell you about a secret weapon that can transform your public speaking effectiveness. Till then, if you want to know more about such interesting concepts, you can refer to my book. The link is being shown on the screen. You can also join its official Facebook page. The book is one of the first academic fiction in India on the topic of personality development. All the best and see you soon.